The latest subpoenas were just part of a wide net officials are casting. Mike Watkiss is an investigative reporter for KTVK. He's been covering Warren Jeffs longer than just about anybody. He joins me now from Phoenix. Michael, good to see you. What about this grand jury? What are they focusing on?
Well, I can tell you this grand jury has been impaneled, Anderson, for weeks now. It's been very active, and literally it's looking at a wide swath of various issues that America is now coming to grips with. The child sexual abuse, the driving of the young boys out of the community, and a lot of the finances of Warren Jeffs. It is a federal grand jury, and sources close to that grand jury continue to cite the times when grand juries have been used against the mafia. And that's exactly the way they're going after Warren Jeffs and his group. This is a criminal enterprise empire led by Warren Jeffs, and Warren Jeffs is the recipient of all kinds of money from various funnels. They've been tapping into the school district, the land they own there. All of his followers are forced to tithe to him. So this is a guy with just almost unlimited resources, and this grand jury has been impaneled here in the state of Arizona for weeks, following about every trail, every shred of evidence that they can find. And as you mentioned, they have actually called several of Warren Jeffs' followers down to testify, including one of his brothers. Those men have refused to testify, and they've thrown them in prison as a result of refusing to testify to this grand jury.
They've also been talking a lot about these construction companies. What's the significance of them?
They're builders. These guys are builders. Your reporters have been to Colorado City. The various homes, these large homes that they put the polygamous families in, are always in a state of construction where they're adding on rooms to add new wives and new children. These guys are builders by trade. So he's got a bunch of contractors, contracting outfits that work for him, led by his followers. They're building homes all over Nevada, all over Utah. So again, this is another one of those conduits of money that flows in, because the money that his followers make go right into his pocket. He dictates everything about what goes on in their lives, and so he controls their lives. He controls the purse strings.
Now, this grand jury that we've been talking about, is that the only case focusing on the FLDS?
Anderson, you need a scorecard at this point to keep track of the various law enforcement agencies and prosecutorial offices that are now following Warren Jeffs. In the last day, we've been screaming for action, as we've told you, for the better part of a decade. Just in the last year and a half, a lot of state officials, a lot of government officials have stepped up and realized there are terrible abuses in this community. This grand jury, led by the U.S. attorney here, Paul Charlton, very active in investigating. But we also have state criminal charges in Mojave County against 8 of Warren Jeffs' followers, also similar charges in Utah, and it's as an extension of those cases. Several of his followers are charged with taking underage brides and having sex with them. They've then, as an extension of those charges, charged Warren in those very cases for facilitating those marriages. So Warren Jeffs faces trouble criminally and being investigated. Literally, you need a scorecard at this point to follow all of the agencies now tracking Warren Jeffs and his followers.
Prosecutors, though, recently said that some of the multiple trials regarding sexual assault within the FLDS sect may actually be postponed. Why?
They may actually be thrown out of court. It's a terrible situation. This has been the traditional problem that prosecutors have faced. Again, this is not new, certainly not here in Arizona and Utah. Whenever they charge one of these men, the problem is the women who are the victims don't want to testify in most cases, because you got to remember, you're hearing from a handful of very brave women who have gotten out, but there are still dozens, hundreds, thousands of women still in that culture. They were raised there. They were told that their only value is to do what the prophet says, marry the man that he says, and then have as many children as they can. They don't want to testify. So they're called the Colorado City 8, the men that were charged here in Mojave County. They have witnesses that are going to step forward in 2 of those cases, we believe, but in the other 6, they don't have any witnesses. First trial begins Wednesday of next week, and they may not be able to put anybody in the witness box. So the problem for the prosecutor is he has to go in and just on paperwork, birth certificates. This is when this young woman was born. This is when she had a child. There's no question about paternity, and he's already married to another woman. Can they make a case with just paperwork? That's what we're going to find out when they go to court on Wednesday.
And of course, the bottom line, where where is Warren Jeffs? And the answer to that is no one really knows. People are talking Texas, maybe, do you think Texas is the best bet?
Texas is the best bet. For the last 2 years now, he has been building this huge apocalyptic temple and compound there. Unlike Colorado City that you can drive into, that's private land. He has security guards and no trespassing signs posted everywhere. So you can't get on there. And law enforcement officials in Texas, very frankly, keep thinking about Waco. And they don't want to go storming in there unless they get pretty good probable cause that he's there. They can get him without some sort of bloodbath.
It is fascinating. Appreciate it, Michael. Always good to talk to you. Thank you, Michael Watkiss, reporting from Phoenix tonight. Earlier this month, Arizona's Attorney General said he believes that Warren Jeffs has recently been back to the Utah-Arizona border to perform more marriages involving even more underage girls. So far, as Michael is pointing out, he's eluded capture. By all accounts, Jeffs has an extensive support network, which is exactly why the FBI is doing what reporters often do. As Michael Watkiss said a moment ago, they are following the money. So CNN's Randy Kay.